Hey guys, me Dave. I just hopped in bed. It's 7. I just lay in bed and watch TV. Up all night being tortured to hell. So uh so I paid those 4 tickets. I told you that. $113 parking tickets. Um, I can't go down there and appeal it because I can't get around, you know. But they said 24-hour parking, which technically the truck is in our yard. Actually driveway. We used to have a garage off the alley, and it's off the alley, sitting where the driveway would be. I don't know how that's 24-hour parking, but they were gonna try to get a couple guys to go down there and get it out, and they couldn't get it unstuck. Um, so they were gonna try to have another guy come and pull it out and stuff, and try to get it up here, which of course it didn't happen. I had V2K for a year um, when I got in this program, and um, um, they basically said on there, they're psychopaths. They said on there, we don't care about you. We don't give a shit, anything about you, and we are not. If you think we're gonna help you, you're pretty much crazy. And that stuck in my head all the time. Because do you think these people, they're telling my mom to lie, and they're telling these people to lie to me all the time, you know, and stuff. I mean, do you actually think they're gonna actually go down there and get my truck unstuck and bring it up here? Of course not. I gave the guy $50, you know, and my mom was gonna go to the bank and pay him. Um, so my guess is he walked out there with jumper cables. My mom supposedly took him to the house, and and uh, and they probably went and got the money and drove around for an hour and probably came back. You know, these people are not gonna, they're not gonna help you. You know, it's just they everything they say is a lie, or like Brian too says, half truths. There might be a little bit of truth there. Well, hopefully the truck is still there. I don't know. Maybe that's truth, but they're not gonna. It's not gonna happen. We're supposed to get a snowstorm, so supposedly the other guy's busy and they can't do it tonight. Maybe tomorrow. Well, we're supposed to get 5 to 8 inches of snow. That's deliberate. It's done on purpose. Of course, they're not gonna. It's not gonna happen. I told my mom. I said it's not gonna happen. So I'll try to call the police station, explain my truck is in our yard, pretty much. It's not blocking the plow, or anything. Um, and hopefully I won't get any more tickets. The thing is, it's in her name. That goes on her record. You know, so I paid 4 tickets off. You know, so you know what I mean. It's like you're in a freaking wheelchair. You might as well go up to the nursing home and go beat up a 95-year-old frail lady. You know what I mean? It's like, it's unbelievable. And this is why they're doing it. They're getting reactions out of me. Reactions out of me. That's why they're doing it. you know. So it's one thing after another. I kind of thought they put me up here because they wanted to get me away from that, but they're just bringing it up here. I can't tell. I'm stuck here. So they can create and say any stupid story they want, and they want me to believe it. Either way, I guess it's getting a reaction. If you don't believe it, or if you believe it, or whatever, it's getting a reaction, you know. So, I mean, I think that the thing with my little nephews, um, having autism or ADHD, I think it's all a lie. I really do. I think it's all a lie. Um, you really look back. They said that, my mom took Max over to the vet, and because he has cancer, I wanted to get him all checked out. I said, I got money saved up just for Max. Get whatever he needs, x rays, blood work, all the stuff. I want to make sure he's okay. He's going to be 13. So then my mom comes back and she says, well, they want to clean his teeth. Now, he's almost 13. I know Dr. Dahl, my vet. He was concerned about the cancer when he was 8 of putting him to sleep. He's not going to put a 13-year-old dog down to sleep to clean his teeth. But they play it out because you're sitting here, you don't know. It's a bunch of bullshit. So, I gotta take Max over to the vet. I gotta go pick him up. Oh, they pulled all his teeth and it was free. Didn't cost you anything. You know, so it's weird because they will play off AI, and I don't know if they can't tell it's AI or if they just pretend they can't tell it's AI. So, AI will put all kinds of thoughts in your head. And one of the thoughts was, oh yeah, if you get a bunch of money, you're gonna donate some to the vet for people who can't pay their bill. Well, this is the scenario they played out. They brought Max over there. He got all his teeth pulled, and they had some kind of grant to help pay for people who can't pay their bill. But that wasn't my thoughts. That was AI. So I don't know if they can't tell it's AI or what. Because when I was in the psych ward the second time, I was being tortured hardcore. And they were playing out skits and scenarios all day long sometimes. And you know how you can get your inner voice, they can do like V2K or whatever in your own voice. So they're playing out a skit, and I'm answering. My inner voice is answering it, and they're answering me like I'm saying it. You know what I mean? Like the one of the fake nurses was out there, and he was like threatening me or something, and my inner voice said, "Well, why don't you come in here?" I wasn't saying it out loud. My inner voice in my or V2K in my own voice was saying, "Why don't you come in here and do something or whatever?" And he's out there saying, "Oh, really?" out loud. So he's answering like I'm saying it. It's not me saying it. You know what I mean? So I noticed that the AI will put out scenarios, um, make sexual comments like in my own inner voice. Kyle's talked about this too, and stuff like that. And they will play out that skit or play out that scenario or whatever. Kind of like, and you're like, well, I didn't say that. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they're doing that on purpose or whatever. I guess it gets reactions either way or something. Like, that's not me. I don't see, I don't know if they know that. You know what I mean? Um, so, or if somebody's by, like say somebody comes and visits, like it'll say in my inner voice, it'll make sexual comments if it's a female or if it's a male sometimes even. And they're just kind of like making faces like, what the hell is he saying? It's not me. Another time I was in a psych ward, there was a perp there. He was American Indian, and we were eating lunch, and they were saying all this stuff. Now, this was a year after the last time I was in the psych ward. Okay, so a year later, this is 10 years ago, and they were calling him every name in the book in my inner voice, and he's answering. He's like, yeah, I'm a, and then the inner voice said, well, I'm part Indian too, because I got a little bit of Indian in me. And so, but that was a year later. I think they kind of figured that out, that that's not him saying that. But the perp didn't know that. The perp thought I was saying that in my inner voice, and he was hearing all of it, getting all affected probably. So they will do all kinds of stuff. I don't know, this is a whole new crew. This is, um, I mean, it's different, but I mean, it's like 10 years ago on steroids, you know, times 10. But it's different because I don't know if they know what they're doing, or they're kind of doing different things now. Kind of like, uh, I mean, they made me throw up for over a year. They gave me diarrhea for 5, 6 months. They were doing like that type of stuff for, I don't know, reactions, or I don't know why they were doing it. But I mean, it's just different, but kind of, you know, I don't know. I had a break. Now I'm getting nailed, for the last 3 years, but it's, I don't know. I don't know. I think we're in the biggest psyop in US history. It's either going to get worse, like Brian Two says, and it's been getting worse since Trump's been in office, or it's the biggest psyop and he's part of it. You know, I really don't know what is going on, but they're promoting this. Uh, 10 years ago, it was the billboards. Ella was doing interviews. This year, this time, it's that Jesse guy. on Alex Jones. It's Len Bear. I think he is total government. Uh, I think he's a government doctor. Um, they're giving false hope. Well, Len Bear got on disability just for Havana syndrome, which is a lie. I think they're lying about that. Um, if this was going to stop you guys, it would have already stopped. You know, they would have already shut it down. There is no protocol. There is no nothing. Um, they're almost throwing it. They're doing it in front of everyone, and everyone's asleep. You know, that's why they shut it off. They can shut the. That's why they shut the weapons off, and you feel normal for a couple seconds, and then they turn them back on. They're like, we can shut this off right now, but we're not going to. And I think that's what happened the first term. They shut it off for everyone. Even Dr. Hall. Oh, Dr. Hall mentioned that, and it stopped for 10 seconds, and then it started again.